Hadi.
Hadi.
Hadi. It means hello.
Hadi.
Dari.
Hadi.
Hadi. It means hello.
Hello and welcome.
Hello and welcome to our traditional territory.
Hadi.
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 Welcome to the unceded ancestral lands of the Lheidli T'enneh First Nations.
We have been here for thousands of years.
And we have welcomed visitors for thousands of years.
Hadi.
Hello and we welcome you to our territory.
Welcome to our territory.
We respectfully acknowledge
that we live, work, and play
on the unceded ancestral land
of the Lheidli T'enneh First Nation.
We respect the history,
Culture.
traditions
and language
of the Lheidli T'enneh First Nation.
We will learn from our host First Nation.
We welcome members of other First Nations who call our territory home.
Hadi.
We welcome other nations, Inuit and Métis people who call our territory home.
We welcome people from around the world who call Prince George home.
Hadi.
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 Hello, and we welcome you to our territory.
Hadi.
Hadi, and welcome to the lands of the Lheidli T'enneh First Nations.
All right, in order for us to get started, we are requesting that if you are a residential school survivor, if you are a family member of a residential school survivor, please gather towards the trees at the back of this line, and we're going to have you drummed in so that we are acknowledging you. If you choose to just be in your seat or where you are welcome to do that as well. So could we have the Kastan drummers head over to the end of the line here. And have all of our survivors, intergenerational residential school survivors and their families, line up behind the Kastan drummers as we're going to honor you by drumming you in today. We are making history here today. The people on the stage represent a small fraction, a drop in a big, huge sea of the lives that were affected by Indian Residential School. When the 215 graves were discovered at the Kamloops Indian Residential School, it opened the hearts of the nation. It re-triggered the trauma in every single Indian Residential School survivor, intergenerational school survivor, and their families. It triggered our nation. A song came to me as I was driving back from the ceremony at Lejac last year. And I want to share it with you, and then I want to share a welcome home song. But before we do that, we're going to have a minute of silence for the 215 children, plus the thousands of others whose graves have been discovered and those have yet to be discovered. Hallelujah, I've been found. Hallelujah, I've been found. No more my body lie deep in the ground. Hallelujah, I've been found. Hunestine jagana, hunestine ganinja, to be hunesti wasaya, hunestine gajana. We are happy that you came, that you have come back to us, to be hunesti wasatya, hunesti nisajana. Way ahe, wa hey hey ya. Way ahe. You can leave this. You can go back to your seats if you like, or you can stay. It's up to you. I'd like to welcome our elder, Darlene McIntosh, to do a prayer and a traditional welcome.
Hadi. Hadi. I think we have at least 1,000, if not more, people here. And when we say a greeting, we say it from our heart so that everybody hears us and we acknowledge yourself at a deeper level. So when I say hello, Hadi, I'd like to hear every one of you to say that word, that beautiful word of greeting. Hadi. Better. So this is it's a celebration, but yet a somber celebration. And when you stand on the stage here and see the sea of orange, and we see the allies that are here with us today, it's absolutely incredible. So I'll get you all to stand, please, just for this moment of time. And I want you to take a nice deep cleansing breath throughout your whole body. Nice deep cleansing breath. As you take that breath of life that was given to you the first day you were born, it acknowledges who you are as an individual, but yet a collective. That each and every one of you have come here for a purpose, and you've come to be here with us today, which we are so very grateful. The Lheidli T'enneh Nation, where we stand, our traditional territories. This used to be our old village before we were sent to Shelley, BC over 100 years ago. And we are blessed to be able to keep our territory here on Lheidli T'enneh Memorial Park, which we're so proud of. It's so beautiful here. And the energy that you bring here is absolutely wonderful. It's incredible. And there's no words for it. It's only a feeling. So we, the Lheidli T'enneh Nation, have been on our traditional lands over 9,000 years. It's supported by lithic evidence. The changes that have taken place over thousands of years supports the enduring strength, courage, and fortitude of our peoples. Our governance through the Batlas brought balance and harmony with our brothers and sisters of other First Nations people. Lheidli T'enneh's clans are Frog, Lasilu, Groussutsut, Beaver Sa, and Beresus. Through this system, we know who our family connections are. Through our oral history, the use of legends told of our travels, our hunting and fishing territories, our trading practices with all peoples. May remember and be in gratitude what Creator's gifted us with, and that is our traditional territories. Our ancestors have always welcomed people to our territories. On behalf of Lheidli T'enneh's elders, our youth, community members, and Chief and Council, it is absolutely our honor to welcome each and every one of you to our traditional territories. All my relations, Mussi. So, if we can just create a sacred space for us to do our work in, because we come together as a collective, creating this space for us to be supportive of each other, to honor each other. So we can bow our heads just for this moment in time. We ask Creator, the grandfathers and the grandmothers, and all of our ancestors, no matter where you're from, to come be with us today to honor truth and reconciliation here at the Lheidli T'enneh Memorial Park. Creator, thank you for this beautiful day on Mother Earth. Thank you for community. Thank you for bringing all who are present that have come to share and honor our First Nations people. Our First Nations people have just come through a devastating announcement, and now over 10,000 children have been found in unmarked graves that belong to the residential schools. Their bodies thrown into the ground so no one would find them. Who would do this to innocent children? The trauma that continues to open the wounds of our elders is unthinkable. The naysayers, what do you think now? Or are they still making excuses in their narrow mind as you are unable to face the truth? The similarities of racism is so bad that a normal mind cannot comprehend these atrocities that have taken place as we speak. As the sad stories keep rising, bringing the attention to many unspeakable acts, as again in a Muslim family murdered in London, Ontario, or the pandemic fears of racism faced by our Asian communities. We as First Nations people have faced this for over 150 years. This is a day of introspection, calling all people to attention. A day for all humanity to be silent just for a moment. The commitment of all peoples, the caring, the compassion, takes strength in keeping their light within strong. As the tears flow, remembering these beautiful souls whose lives were taken from their families, the children are forever remembered. Creator, hear our prayers. It was said by Chief Sitting Bull, for us, warriors are not what you think of as warriors. The warrior is not someone who fights because no one has the right to take another life. The warrior for us is one who sacrifices himself, herself, for the good of others. His task is to take care of the elderly, the defenseless, those who cannot provide for themselves, and above all, the children, the future of humanity. Now we come and we must put our petty differences aside, come together as a community of one, as what we see today. We all need to be serving and not self-serving. Look at self before pointing a finger at the neighbor. We all have a common thread as humans. At the end of our lives, we bring only the love of our family and friends. Beauty, compassion, and love for our future generations that will exist on this beautiful plain called Mother Earth after we are long gone. The beauty of Indigenous people is that we are so connected to the Mother. As we are the caretakers of her, we have, not only us, but all of humanity, have an intimate connection with our environment. The trees breathe out, we breathe in. We breathe out and the trees breathe in. If each of us is willing to take a chance to trust, we, the Lheidli Nation, can and will make it work for the good of all. Creator, hear our prayers. Thank you for those willing to work towards building a stronger relationship with each other, and most important, willing to make a powerful commitment in making sure this does not happen again. Let us be in awareness and educate. Let's come with open minds and open hearts as we see the light within each other. With this commitment, we walk the good red road in promoting and acknowledging our unique differences. Our ways of thinking will be forever changed. We thank all who have come forward today, showing the world that we care, drumming and singing for those who can't. We call on the ancestors of all nations, along with the grandfathers and grandmothers, to be with us today, asking for understanding, compassion, and positive attitude in our thoughts and actions. Our Prince George community has shown strength of character as we acknowledge and find peace in our hearts. Our world would be a different place as together let us dissipate this threat to all human life. May our journey be filled with hope, kindness, and compassion for all peoples. Give our future a chance, our world a chance to be better people, leaving fear, hatred, and lack of understanding behind us as we walk into a brighter future. May Creator always be there for the people in need, the drummers and singers who have come to call the ancestors of all peoples, as we are all in this together. Together, we will come through this devastating part of our history with a message of love, light, and healing, sharing the message of being kind, calm, and being safe with those around us. May we bring the light today, sharing and celebrating this great day of our First Nations people, as we are a people that are inclusive, not exclusive, sharing our gifts with those around us. May all those present journey in healing, light, and unconditional love. May your choices be freeing, and with each step, growing in spirit. Know that Creator walks with you, feeling and experiencing life through you. May you walk softly on Mother Earth, leaving no footprints. Creator, hear our prayers. Creator, hear our prayers. All my relations must see. Thank you. Please be seated.
We'd like to invite Chief Crystal Gibb, or maybe I just spoke, the future, Councillor Crystal Gibb, and Councillor Joshua Seymour.
Thank you, Kim, and thank you, Elder McIntosh, as well as our drummers. All I can say right now is wow. It's a sea of orange. It's beautiful. The support is amazing. And so today I want to thank each and every one of you who are in attendance. Your attendance today shows how much your support and willingness to learn more about Canada's darkest chapter of residential schools, which operated between mid-1800s to the 1990s. It also indicates that you wish to better understand the impacts of those schools on Indigenous peoples, families, and communities. I am very pleased that you all will get the opportunity this afternoon through the words and the stories of our speakers to come together. I had the great honor this morning to represent our nation for a Truth and Reconciliation event, which was the former site of Lheidli Residential School, also the school my grandfather and his siblings attended. I wish that they had the opportunity to see this today. Thank you. I attended Lheidli with one of our speakers this afternoon, Elder Clifford Qua. And if anyone can help us better understand what life was like for Indigenous students at residential school, it's Clifford. The same man education almost killed, and then in the future, education saved his life. A man I have great respect for. My heart aches for survivors like Elder Clifford today, the intergenerational survivors and their families. It's opportunities like this where we all come together to support, educate, as well as learn that helps ease this heartache. When we deal with the truth and face our toughest days together, the journey down the road to reconciliation will always be much easier. I thank each and every one of you for your attendance. Mussi.
It's true that we can wear orange every day of the year. Who has wore their orange shirt outside of September 30th? Yeah, that's what this is all about. This is every day. Right? So I want to just tell a tiny little story about the orange shirt in case there happens to be one person here that doesn't know. The Orange Shirt Day was inspired by Phyllis Webstad, who lives in Williams Lake, BC. And it was on her first day of school at the age of 6 years old when her grandmother had bought her this beautiful shiny orange shirt. She was so excited to go to school. She saw all the other kids going to school, and she was waiting for her day. But when she got to school, the first thing they did was they took that orange shirt from her and they cut her hair. She never saw that orange shirt ever again. There was so much that was taken away from every Indian residential school survivor. And so that's why we wear orange, because it changed the hearts of our people. And by seeing everybody in orange here, it gives us hope. So we thank you for that. I would like to invite Lheidli Elder Mike Bizoki to come up and share some of the history. There's a lot of history in this place. He's one of our knowledge keepers.
Thank you, Kim. Well, from what you heard before, we have carbon dating on Lheidli T'enneh territory going back 9,000 years in this territory. So when we take a look at history, we can take a look at it in a number of ways. Pre-colony, pre-contact, we had a potlatch system, and 4 clans. We did our business within our trading between the different clans. The 4 clans are frog, beaver, bear, grouse. Every member on Lheidli T'enneh can tell you which clan they belong to. Lheidli T'enneh also did a lot of trading with other First Nations, up and down the Fraser, up and down the Nechako, up and down the Salmon, the Willow, and we controlled all the trade. When contact started coming, they met with I'd like to say a slang term, but I won't. But we met with the people from the McLeod Lake area who had brought Mackenzie down to the Fraser, and then the people from Lheidli T'enneh took over the guiding system and brought him down in through into the Lheidli T'enneh territory. Mackenzie came through at the historic flood, the highest flood ever that was out here. And when you take a look and see where Connaught Hill is today, when Mackenzie came through, that was an island. That's how high the river was. After contact, the fur traders started coming in, and this was back in the late 1790s, 95. The Northwest Company had built a fort here in 1920, and then they merged with the Hudson's Bay Company in 1921. 1921 to 1922, they had the fort over here for fur buying. That closed and reopened about 6 or 7 years later, back in 1829. Shortly thereafter, we started getting the epidemics coming through the region. We had smallpox, we had measles, and that wiped out a lot of our people. The first census done in this area had Lheidli at 187 members, 75 men, 50 women, and 62 children. This was back in 1839 when they did the first head count. So after that, we had the smallpox, we had the measles, we had another bout of smallpox. And that took a great toll on the membership. Then Canada became a country in 1867. And shortly thereafterwards, the Department of Indian Affairs came into effect and started changing the way everything had been done. When the different entities came into the territory, they would only recognize certain people. Our traditional system had hereditary chiefs for the clans, the T'enneh and for the male chiefs, and there's also the female chiefs, Sekeza. And that was what the people had recognized as their leaders. When the Department of Indian Affairs came in, they disregarded all of our traditional chiefs and territories. The church had church chiefs and watchmen who they would recognize. The fur bearers, the fur companies, the Hudson's Bay Company would have what they call fur-bearing chiefs. Those were the only ones that they would recognize. So when they say there's too many chiefs and not enough Indians, now you know why. Depending on who you talk to, different people were recognized by the different entities. There was even railway chiefs. People only the railway people would recognize as leading. So one of the ways of life that had changed was that when the government came over, they started outlawing different things. They outlawed the potlatch and on how we conducted our business, how we got our things done. Potlatches were held for a number of various reasons: birth, coming of age, death, trading. So when they outlawed the potlatch, that was our basic way of life on how to get things passed on, how business was conducted. And then eventually people started coming to this area because the railway was coming through. And for a number of years, they tried to get the Lheidli T'enneh people to sell the 1,366 acres that was allotted to them because of the population. And this was the village site. 127 people were living on here, 29 houses, a graveyard. Still see the remains of the graveyard today, just over to my left and to your right. They tried 3 times to get the sale of the land from Lheidli T'enneh. First one back in 1907 was refused outright. 1910, same thing. People voted and refused. And then the third time, the vote was held. They were promised a lot of money at that time, $100,000, and $25,000 to relocate to the Shelley site with the promise of houses being built there. That was in 1911, 1912. When they went to see the houses that were built for them, they refused because it did not come up to any standards at all. So they came back to the village site, and the Indian agent at the time and the railways had decided to burn out the village, bulldoze the graveyard. So that was one of the slights that happened to us in history. After the World War, the Spanish flu came through, and we were down to our lowest point. We were down to under 30 members. The membership at that time had decided to abandon the potlatch system because there wasn't enough people to do the potlatch system. Throughout the years, all the traditional hereditary chiefs had died, and the last hereditary chief, George Dale, died in 1946. That was the last time a potlatch was held on Lheidli territory until 2019. First time in 73 years. During this time, they also sent our children to Lejac. Lejac opened up in 1922 and ran until 1976. So 2 or 3 generations of our children went through Lejac School. And Clifford Claw will be speaking in a few moments about his experience at Lejac. After the war, before the war, Lejac was a school that our students had to go to, and they were shipped out by train every September and came back in the summer times. During that time, different ventures and stuff happened within the territory, the logging, the mining, everything that Prince George knows today came through. Okay, I will end it here for now. Thank you.
Mussi, Mike. So I want to just take this moment to acknowledge our sponsors. And that is, we have levels of sponsorship. And I would like to acknowledge Canadian Tire, Selin Alpay. Can we give him a big hand? and also UNBC, our university here. So we're trying to keep the schedule on schedule. I would like to invite up our local, he's become quite famous actually. You see him on the news, you'll see him on the internet, you'll see him around town. And he's already done a talk over in Vanderhoof? Oh, Lejac. He was over in Lejac today already, and he's here today. Can we please welcome Elder Clifford Kwa?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, survivors, all the people that attended this Truth and Reconciliation. And first of all, it's Orange T-shirt Day, right? I'm wearing orange. And Truth and Reconciliation, Orange T-shirt Day, and Clifford and Crystal and Kevin Brown made it here. Because we were flying. Just to make this, we got here about 1:55 to 2. Whoa. Talk about traveling. Ah. I had a dry mouth. And they kept asking me, "You want a drink of water?" I said, "No, thanks." Okay, I better introduce myself. My name is Clifford Kwa from the Lheidli T'enneh First Nations. My clan is Grouse. And Murray Sinclair said these words: education can get the First Nation, education got the First Nation into this, all this mess and whatever. But education will get us out of it. So that sort of pertains to me, because in 2008 I attended a school, Vancouver Community College. That was part of my education. And be darned, I graduated from a registered learning institute. That was at Vancouver Community College. And the course was an instructor diploma program. And it was about 8 months long. And while I'm speaking of this, about this class of 2008, there were 8 of us, residential school survivors, who also were in attendance. And all of us, we all graduated. That's the first for that. I haven't seen that before. For survivors from a residential school attend the college and graduate. But in 2009, I got an invitation from Vancouver Community College to attend a graduation. And I did. We left June the 10th from here. June 11th was graduation day. Got my diploma. And what's ironic about all that is June the 10th was my birthday. Oh ho ho! And what is truth and reconciliation? To me, it's the truth about myself. And the truth was, I made that road to healing. And it took me a few years to overcome this residential school syndrome. And I thought alcohol was bad. That was the easiest part. And I quit overnight, December 28th, 1984. 37 years sober. First of all, another thing I'm going to talk about is the residential school history and how it affected me and the rest of the students and boys and girls who attended Lheidli School or any Indian residential school in Canada. And what really brought down the First Nations, emotional starvation. We were starved for love, all that, but we didn't have all that. So we buried it deep inside. So in other words, we were walking around like zombies. Unfeeling, nothing. Didn't feel love or nothing. We just walked day to day. And another one that really affected me was the toxic shame. That is that I was ashamed of everything about myself, being an Indian, being a survivor of residential schools. I was all ashamed of all of that. It took me years to get over. But like I said, in 2009, everything changed. When I got my diploma, my life went from there to what I am today as an instructor. And I've been teaching this residential school history to School District 57, College of New Caledonia, and University of Northern BC. And you know what? I enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoying teaching. That means I have a purpose in history. Or, whoa, back up. It's coming out too fast. I had a purpose in life, not history. I had a purpose in life. And my purpose was here to teach, as a residential school survivor, what a better way to learn about what actually happened in the residential school. And, but then again, all you people you're around here, you're all teachers, tell you the truth. You're always teaching and learning. Learning about each other, learn about the residential schools, learn how we, as survivors, especially me, how I overcame the residential school syndrome to be what I am today. That is an instructor, one step below the teacher. But then again, like I said, we're all teachers. We start learning from the day we were born till the time when we will leave to the spirit world. And most survivors suffered in silence. And I have a lot. There's one from Randy Marie Adams. She's a broadcaster. He said, Clifford, you're a spokesman for all these survivors and intergenerational people. You speak for them. And I do. And all the residential school survivors, there's 4 words that comes to mind. And these 4 words just popped in my head. I was doing a lecture at First Nations Studies at CNC, First Nations Studies 201. As I was going through the PowerPoint, I clicked to the next slide and I faced the students And these 4 words just popped in my mind. I told the students, aha, I have a aha moment. Okay, what is it? I said, there's 4 words that most survivors follow, including me. First 2, don't ask. Don't ask for help. Don't ask anybody to tell them that you are suffering. Don't ask for any help in any shape, way, or form. Because simply put, you know the answer would be no. But nowadays they have so many agencies willing and able to help the survivors, intergenerational people. They have it right, you have all the survivors, they have it right there. When I was growing up in 70s, 80s, we didn't have nothing. And the next 2 words, don't tell. Don't tell. Don't tell nobody about how you suffered. Don't tell them how you were abused mentally and physically. Don't tell nobody. And so we buried it. Another thing about these 4 words, that's the Kamloops residential school where they found all these unmarked graves. And these 4 words come to mind for the students, male students, who dug these graves, shallow graves, and put the bodies in there. Don't ask the brother or priest why we're doing that. Don't ask the priest, we want to send them bodies back home. Don't ask for help so that we can contact the parents. And to this day, there are unmarked graves. Don't tell nobody of what you had done. I'll give you an example. Okay, 4 bigger boys from a school, residential school in Kamloops, they dug all these graves and put them, these children. Nobody knows how they passed away. And they put them in unmarked graves. And the priest said, don't tell nobody. He brought these students up to the office. Don't tell nobody. And one of the students probably asked, why? We just buried 4 children. Them children should have been brought back to the community to be buried properly. And the priest would answer, if you do tell, you're going to be next. So they just clammed right up. That is part of the residential school system that I had attended, that I overcame, that I had all these problems, everything. I put it in a mental bag. I put it in the past where it belongs. That's why I can be able to stand up here and talk to you about all this residential school history. And I'm getting a little winded now. Also, residential schools, boys and girls, students. We grew up with these fear of failure, fear of success. Because in residential school, if you're pretty successful, say at anything, say at skating, playing hockey, and you're proud of it, The rest of hockey players will bring you right back down. You don't belong up there, you belong down here with us. That's where they instill the fear of failure and success. And the school taught us fear factor. We were scared witless to do anything. And there's another part, I said this to Jack, to the audience, and Bruce Allen mentioned to me, he said, remember every Sunday how we used to go to Mass, High Mass? I said, yes. He said, tell the audience about the long lines, boys and girls, long lines to go to confession. Can you believe that? Confessions. And in the meantime, the priests, brothers and sisters, said everything we did was sin, a sin, everything, including dirty thoughts. It's a sin. And a friend of mine, he was about 8 years old, he had gone to confession after church, went down playground, he tapped me, he said, Clifford, what? He said, I went to a confession. I said, what kind of sin did you do? He said, I had to think about it, so I invented a sin. And what was that sin? He told me, I told the priest, Father, I have sinned, for I have committed adultery. I told him, what? Adultery. Is that a sin? He said, according to the priest. He said, yeah. Go say 10 Hail Marys and all that, and act of contrition, and you're absolved. That's a type of, it's kind of ridiculous to go to, just to go to confessions, and we're dreaming about all these funny sins. Another one was, he said, Father, for I have sinned. He said, I have a girlfriend, and we did something. Yes. What did you do? Oh, he said, I kissed her. I said, that's a mortal sin. You're kidding. Say 10 Hail Marys and you're absolved. Now get out of here. And I'm getting a little long-winded, so I'll sort of shorten it up a bit. Truth and reconciliation to me is to find in oneself the truth about myself. How I built this healing road, now I gotta walk it. Also about the truth about how the Indian residential schools almost eradicated the First Nation people through child abductions, forced to forget our traditions, languages, and our way of life. I attended the Jack Residential School for 11 years. 11 years wasted. Same as boys and girls in residential school, is all wasted because we didn't know how to get a formal education. But boy, we're always kneeling and praying. Praying for what? Well, the only thing we prayed for was more food. Of course, that never happened. Also, very little formal education. Personally, I faced the truth about myself and all the trauma that was done to me by priests, brothers, all this trauma that I buried. As for reconciling, I forgave myself first. That's the first step, to forgive yourself for putting yourself through hell to overcome the syndrome. And then the others who had done all they could to kill the Indian in me and break my spirit that was inside of me. The church and schools failed. That is why I am up here, a survivor who ever came. Thank you very much. Now, to make life better for each and every one of us gathered here, respect yourself first. Always respect yourself first. And later on, respect all the other people. All other people gathered here, respect every one of them. Because there are humans like you. And part of reconciliation is to make a better life between you, I, and all the people outside, all gathered here, so that we can walk hand in hand with each other to make better, to understand one another. Mussi, thank you. Thank you very much.
Wow. Powerful. Every time we tell our stories, we heal. And like Clifford, we need to listen to our elders, to our residential school survivors. They need us to listen to them. We're going to wrap this up. We have been here for just over an hour. And yeah, not long enough. I know, right? We could actually be here all day. We have so much to talk about. But we have an event happening over at the House of Ancestors at the Lheidli Bio. And that event is for all residential school survivors, regardless of where you're from, and all intergenerational residential school survivors and all of their families. So if you fit within that context, we are going to gather at the House of Ancestors for some ceremony and some food and some healing. And we're so grateful for each and every one of you that came out today. And we're going to remove this podium from the stage. And I'm going to move this too, because we have a very special guest. A very special young lady. I have her introduction in my notes. So you may have seen Bella Rain. Even the name sounds beautiful. She's an 11-year-old, incredible young woman from the Takla Lake First Nation. She's in grade 6, and she recently made the U13 PG Capitals team. She excels in school, in soccer, in hockey, and in life. Please welcome Bella Rain. Bella Rain. Those jingles are the prayers being lifted up. And if you wonder what is happening here with the money being brought to the stage, that is a traditional way of honoring the dancer. Also, we encourage you, if you see the table over here with the leaves and the rocks, there's some pens over there. We're inviting you to write messages of love and hope, to put your voice here to the stage. And the leaves and the rocks are a symbol of letting go. To not hold on to any sadness, or any pain, or any triggers from the day. We need to take care of ourselves. We also have healers, traditional people, around the edges of our circle here. And if you feel like you need to be brushed off, take a walk around the edges and you will be drawn to them. You will smell the sage. So we're almost to the end. We're so close to the end. I just want to do one more shout out to our sponsors, because without them, they helped us so much in all that we're doing here. And then we're going to have a special presentation. And then get your drums ready. Drummers, we're going to have a community drum circle right here. And that's how we're going to close this part of the event before we head over to the House of Ancestors. So I'm just going to give a shout out. Once again, our Eagle sponsors were UNBC and Canadian Tire. You can clap. our moose sponsors. So the moose just is like a little bit lower than the eagle. His antlers are like, you know, almost up there. Is the City of Prince George, Northern Region First Nations Health Authority, and Folklore Building Future Forests. Those are our moose sponsors. Our salmon sponsors are the Regional District of Fraser-Fort George, Canfor, Our Bios, Biotech, My Prince George Now, Country 97, 94.3 The Goat, CKPG TV, 101.3 The River, 93.3 Rewind Radio. Let's hear it for our salmon sponsors. And then the deer sponsors, just like this little deer on many shirts in this park today, are Strategic, ICBC, Coastal GasLink, and the Prince George Public Library. And all of our community supporters, we also want to give a huge thank you to all of our volunteers. There are so many volunteers on the ground today. And so I'd like to invite up Councillor Crystal Gibb to do a special presentation.
All right, before we leave today and head over to the House of Ancestors, there's one person who brought everybody together and organized this event today that I would like to call up and give a special thank you to Jennifer Robideau. If you could come up, please. You beautiful lady. And I'll hand the mic back to our MC. Thank you too, Kim. You did an amazing job. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Mussi Cho. All right, so I also want to give a big hand to John Russell over here, who takes care of all the amazing sound. And this is, I believe, being live streamed, if you didn't know. Yes, so live streaming happening, and so let's get those drums happening. Everybody is welcome to join in on the drumming. We have many drum groups, I've seen them, so whoever wants to take the lead, it's open. Wesley, Michael, Tracy. If you have a drum, please, you're welcome to come up and drum. Whichever, wherever you feel comfortable. And just also know that there are celebrations happening all day long, all across this country. CBC Radio is playing Indigenous music all day. There's a beautiful event honoring Buffy St. Marie on television tonight. There's all kinds of movies. There are books at the library. There are so many ways that we can do our own way, in our own way of honoring this day across this country. So once again, my name is Kim Gucci, and it's been an honor to be here, and I thank you so much. Snachalia. Oh yes, one more thing. We can never gather without somebody losing something. We have 2 sets of keys and a cell phone. So if you search your pockets, your purses, your bags, we have them up here. I'm not saying what kind of cell phone. Doesn't work like that, Michael.
What are we going to sing? song? Yeah! We need the women. We need the women to sing it. We need some leads. Yes? Going up.
Hello one more time. We've acquired another cell phone. We still have 2 sets of keys, so you're not going anywhere. One of the sets of keys has a yellow, like a very strange smiley face. Is that yours? Okay, the cell phone has been claimed. We still have keys.